Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Text 23. एकोनविंशे विंशति मे वृष्णिषु प्राप्य जन्मनि रामकृष्ण इति भुवो भगवान् अहरत् परम्.
In the 19th and 20th incarnations, the Lord advented himself as Lord Balram and Lord Krishna in the family of Vrishni, the Yadu dynasty. And by doing so, he removed the burden of the world.
Text 24. Tatah kalo sampravarte sammohaya suradvisham buddho namnanchana sutah kikteshu bhavishyati.
Then, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful theist.
Text 25. Athaso yuga sandhyayam dasyu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yassaso namna kalkir jagatpatihi.
Thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as the Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasha. At this time, almost all the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers.
Text 26. Avtara hai asankhyeya hare sattva nidhe dvijaha yatha vidasinah kulyaha sarsarah suyo sarashrasah.
O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like the rivulets flowing from the inexhaustible sources of water.
Text 27. Rashayo manavo deva manuputra mahajasah kala sarve harir eva saprajapataya samrataha.
All the rishis, manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis.
Text 28. Ete chamsha kalaha pumsaha Krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mradyanti yuge yuge.
All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on the planets whenever there is disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists.
Text 29. Janma guhyam bhagavato ya etad prayato naraha sayam pratar granan bhaktya dukkha gramad vimuchyate.
Whoever carefully recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord with devotion in the morning and in the evening gets relief from all miseries of life.
Text 30. Etad rupam bhagavato hai arupasya chid atmanah maya gune virachitam mahadbhir atmani.
The conception of the Virat universal form of the Lord as appearing in the material world is imaginary. It is to enable the less intelligent and neophytes to adjust to the idea of the Lord's having form, but factually, the Lord has no material form.
Text 31. Yatha nabhasi megho renurva parthivo nile evam drashtrari drashtyattvam aropitam abuddhibhihi.
Clouds and dust are carried by the air, But less intelligent persons say that the sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conceptions on their spirit self.
Text 32. अतः परं यद् अव्यक्तम् अव्युद्धगुणभ्रंहितम् अद्रष्टारूतवस्तुत्वात् स जीवो यत् पुनर्भवः.
Beyond this gross conception of form is another subtle conception of the form, which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard, and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety, otherwise he could not have repeated births.
Text 33. यत्रे मे सद् असद् रूपे प्रतिसिद्धे स्वसंविदा अविद्यात्मनि कृते इति तद्ब्रह्मदर्शनम्.
Whenever a person experiences by a realization that both the gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure itself, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord.
Text 34. यद्य एषो परता देवी माया विशरदी मतिः सम्पन्न एवेति विदुर महिम्नि स्वे महीयते.
If the illusory energy subsides and the living entity becomes fully enriched with knowledge by the grace of the Lord, then he becomes at once enlightened with self-realization and thus becomes situated in his own glory.
Text 35. एवं जन्मानि कर्माणि है अकर्तुर् अजन्स्य च वर्णयन्ति स्म कवयो वेदगुह्यानि हृत्पतेः.
Thus, learned men describe the births and activities of the unborn and inactive, which is undiscoverable even in the Vedic literatures. He is the Lord of the heart.
Text 36. स वा इदं विश्वम् अमोक्लीलः सज्जते अव्यते इति न सज्जते अस्मिन् भूतेषु चन्द्रहति आत्मतन्त्रः साद्वर्गिकं जिग्रहति सद्गुणेशः.
The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them, and annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent.
Text 37. No chasya kaschinipune dhatur aveti jantukum nisha utihi namani rupani manovachubhihi santavanto natacharyam ivajnaha.
The foolish, with a poor fund of knowledge, cannot know the transcendental nature of the forms, names, and activities of the Lord, who is playing like an actor in a drama. Nor can they express such things neither in their speculations or in their words.
Text 38. Saveda dhatu padvim parsaya duranta virasya rathang panihe yo amayaya santayannuvattayah bhat bhajite tatpat saroja gandham.
Only those who render unreserved, uninterrupted, favorable service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, Krishna, who carries the wheel of the chariot in his hand, can know the creator of the universe in his full glory, power, and transcendence.
Text 39. अथे धन्या भगवन्त इतं यद्वासुदेवेऽखिललोकनाथे कुर्वन्ति सर्वात्मकम् आत्मभावं न यत्र भूय परिवर्त उग्रः.
Only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly cognizant. For such inquiries invoke transcendental, ecstatic love unto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes and guaranteed 100% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death.
Text 40. Idam bhagavatam nama puranam brahma sammitam uttama shloka charitam chakara bhagavan rishihi nishreyasaya lokasya dhanyam swastya ayam mahat.
This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God and is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect.
Text 41. Tad idam grathayam asa sutam atmavatam varam sarva vedeti hastanam saram saram samudratam.
Sri Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe.
Text 42. Sa tu samsravayam asa maharajam parikshitam prayopavishtam gangayam paritam paramarshibhihi.
Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, in his turn delivered the Bhagavatam to the great emperor Parikshit, who sat surrounded by sages on the banks of the Ganges, awaiting death without taking food or drink.
Text 43. Krishne swadhamopagate dharmajnanidhibhi saha kalo nashta drasham esha puran rako dhunodhidaha.
This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana.
Text 44. Tatra kirtayato vipra viprasher bhuri tejasaha aham chandyangam tatra nivistastad anugrahat. So aham vahasravayishyami yathadhitam yathamati.
O learned Brahmanas, when Sukdev Goswami recited Bhagavatam there, in the presence of Emperor Parikshit, I heard him with rapt attention, and thus by his mercy, I learnt the Bhagavatam from that great powerful sage. Now I shall try to make you hear the very same thing as I learnt it from him, and I have realized it, and as I have realized it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. That was such a nice recitation. Very, very nice. So smooth. It was really good. Thank you. So now are the slides on the screen? You can see them?
Yes, we can, Mataji.
You can, yeah? Okay, great. That's good. Okay, so we can start. Today's verse is verse number 40, I'm told. So we will try our best to discuss with your help. And as usual, we will recite the Mangalacharan prayers first to start with, and then we can go on with the discussion. So we'll start. Please recite the prayers along with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandhasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansh Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमां विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं कृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम् ओम हरे कृष्णा. So welcome dear devotees to our Chat Plus chapter a day Srimad Bhagavatam, and I seek your blessings and I feel very grateful to be here. I think after 1 month I could not come, although I was supposed to be here almost every Saturday, but I had other commitments, other services. So I'm really glad that I'm able to do some Krishna Katha today with your blessings. So it's very purifying. And at the same time, today's verse is excellent verse. It's all about glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are on to the last section of chapter 3. And so we will also recite these prayers and then start. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृद्यन्तः स्तोह भद्राणि विधुनोति सुरत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी सतां प्रसंगान् मम वीर्य संविदो भवन्ति हृत्कर्णरसायन कथा तज्जोषनादाश्वपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति. So these are the prayers we recite daily before we start study of Srimad Bhagavatam. However many verses we are reciting a day, we might be doing 2, 3, 5, but Bhagavatam can be understood by the mercy of the Lord, because Krishna will reveal only then we can understand, because this is not a material book. And the more frequently we come near Bhagavatam, to that degree it will be revealed to us. So daily if we are reciting and reading, then these are the prayers to recite beforehand. So everyone knows this. And so today's verse we will recite. इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्म संहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकस्य धन्यं स्वस्त्यनन्यं महत् अयनं महत्. The synonyms are idam, this, Bhagavatam, book containing the narration of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. Nama, of the name. Puranam, supplementary to the Vedas. Brahma Samhitam, incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna. Uttama Shloka, of the personality of Godhead. Charitam, activities. Chakara, compiled. Bhagavan, incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Rishihi, Shri Vyasadev. Ni Shreya Saya, for the ultimate good. Lokasya, of all people. Dhanyam, fully successful. Swasti Ayanam, all blissful. Mahat, all perfect. So the translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Purport. Someone would like to read the first paragraph?
I can read the first one.
Sure, Mataji, please.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless sound representation of all Vedic knowledge and history. There are selected histories of great devotees who are in direct contact with the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam is the literal incarnation of Lord Sri Krishna and is therefore non-different from him. Srimad Bhagavatam should be worshipped as respectfully as we worship the Lord. Thereby, we can derive the ultimate blessings of the Lord through its careful and patient study. As God is all light, all bliss, and all perfection, so also is Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji. And anyone wants to volunteer for second one?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, can I read?
Please, yes, Mataji, thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. We can have all the transcendental light of the Supreme Brahman, Sri Krishna, from the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, provided it is received through the medium of the transparent spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya's private secretary, Srila Swarupa Damodara Goswami, advised all intending visitors who came to see the Lord at Puri to make a study of the Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. Person Bhagavatam is a self-realized bona fide spiritual master, and through him only can one understand the lessons of Bhagavatam in order to receive the desired result. One can derive from the study of the Bhagavatam all benefits that are possible to be derived from the personal presence of the Lord. It carries with it all the transcendental blessings of Lord Sri Krishna that we can expect from his personal contact. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Indulekha Mataji and Chaitanya Mataji. That was wonderful. Yes, so we can see that how this verse is glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is also saying that we have heard so many times that Srimad Bhagavatam should be heard in the right disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master, because then we will understand it as it is, because this Vedic knowledge comes directly from Krishna. Krishna gave the knowledge to Brahma. Brahma gives it to Narad Muni. Narad Muni gives it to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva spoke to Sukadev Goswami, who then spoke to Parikshit Maharaj and heard by Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya. He speaks to them later on. And so we are very fortunate. We have got all the verses here of all the 18,000 verses with Srila Prabhupada's commentary. So we are understanding it in the right disciplic succession, which is the bona fide true succession. So we are getting the real meaning of it. We are reading the purports and then we are discussing it as it is. So I wanted to just say that because as I am coming after a month, I thought it's good to just quickly 5 minutes to just summarize that how it all started is that in the first chapter, you know how the Naimisharanya sages, they offer a esteemed seat to Sutta Goswami. They ask 6 questions and all of you know by now what are those 6 questions are. And Sutta Goswami, he before replying to the sages, he pays his obeisances to his Guru Sukadev Goswami. He pays obeisances to Vyasadeva, to Saraswati Devi, and Nar Narayan Rishi. And then he starts to answer those questions. And we know what the questions are. Is the first was, what is the ultimate good for all people or humanity? And what is the essence of all the scriptures? So the answer to the first 2 questions is bhakti. Bhakti is the answer. And we know the famous verses, verse number 6 and 7 of chapter number 2. That is the answer, which is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radokshaje Ahetuki Pratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. So this is the answer to both the questions, that the supreme occupation or dharma or duty of all people is by which they can can attain to loving devotional service, which is bhakti, unto the transcendental Lord, who is Sri Krishna. And we know ete cham sakala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. In this chapter itself, the verse was discussed that Krishna is the supreme most, he is the topmost, and from him all the incarnations they emanate. So such devotional service must be two things are the requisites. First is unmotivated. There should be no selfish motives for doing this bhakti. And secondly, it should be uninterrupted. It should be done continuously every day. At sadhaka's stage, what he does is that he follows the rules and regulations under the guidance of spiritual master, and he's practicing this bhakti because he's not at that pure stage whereby he has that bhava, that pure kevala bhakti is not there. So what he does is that continuously unmotivated way, he performs his sadhana bhakti, and through that, with the Lord's mercy and Guru's benedictions and empowerment, he can slowly purify, and then he can develop the desire of like how the kevala bhakta, the pure condensed bhakti, is the pleasure of the Lord. He wants to serve just because he wants to please Krishna. There is nothing personal there. So ahaituki apratihata. And the next verse also is the answer to both the questions, which was verse 7, that Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janatyasya Suvairagyam Gnanam Chayat Ahaitukam, which means by rendering devotional service unto personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So knowledge and detachment are again the two things which are also the very important qualities required to be able to gain devotional service, pure service to the Lord. Because until we detach from matter, it is difficult to attach to spirit, which is the matter is the material world, spiritual world, which is Krishna. And so, and this kind of detachment and attachment comes by rendering pure devotional service. So actually bhakti is the way to gain bhakti, basically. That is what, so the goal and the process, they are both same in bhakti. That is the beauty of bhakti, that right, your process is same, this devotional service. What do you want to gain at the end? That is also devotional service. So there is no other motives for oneself. It is just bhakti. And then we know thereafter that question 3 and question 4. So first, so after this was answered, what happens is that Sutta Goswami elaborated again in the second chapter how bhakti has to be gained by the prescribed duties. And if you remember, we had seen that the supreme dharma is the devotional service. And by doing your own dharma, being in your occupation, your main purpose should be to gain bhakti. Otherwise, doing any kind of other jobs and occupations, they don't serve any purpose. And thereafter, Guna Avtaras were discussed. And from Guna Avtaras, Vishnu is the topmost. If somebody is desiring liberation, then they should worship Vishnu. And then there was that beautiful verse, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Paragati, Vasudeva Parakriya. And thereafter question 4 was answered, and then question 3, because question 4 is about the creation. The three Vishnus, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu was discussed. And thereafter question 3 was answered, which is what is the purpose of Krishna's appearance. And so the purpose is that the Supreme Lord descends to reclaim those who are in the mode of goodness. So such people who are living in very good mode of goodness, Lord comes to reclaim them back. And then the third chapter starts with how Krishna is source of all the incarnations. Verse 1 to 5, role of Purusha Avtaras are also discussed, which is again in continuation of question 4. And question 5, the answer was Leela Avtaras. And that goes on till 29th verse, because 22 incarnations, just briefly, there are innumerable incarnations of the Lord. As we know, I think we had discussed that Sheshnag is time immemorial. He is praising the activities and pastimes of the Lord, but he's still not finished because there are so many. And then thereafter, verse 30 to 34 was about the imaginary material form of the Jiva and Virat Rupa. 35 to 39 is describing and giving understanding of the Supreme Lord. And now we are on to the last section, which is 40 and 44. This is what is the answer to the sixth question. So what was the sixth question? Now that Lord Krishna has gone back to the eternal abode, where did Dharma take shelter? And this question is answered from in these 5 verses. So today's verse to the next 4 verses is answer to this 6th question. So where did Dharma take shelter? It has taken shelter in the book form, who is Srimad Bhagavatam, who is none other than Lord Shri Krishna. So I just wanted to quickly discuss that how Supreme Lord Shri Krishna himself is the Bhagavatam who has come in the book form. So let's see. Okay, so this is meant to go here. Right, and Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna and therefore non-different from him. Srimad Bhagavatam should be worshipped as respectfully as we worship the Lord. Thereby, we can derive the ultimate blessings of the Lord through its careful and patient study. And we all know that 4.7 and 4.8 of Bhagavad Gita clearly says what that yada yada hi dharmasya glanirabhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrujamyaham. So whenever and wherever there is decline in the religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a dominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. And then there is also the next verse, we know 4.8 also says that Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So how does Lord appear? Sometimes he comes in the fish form, Matsya Avtara. Sometimes he comes as a little child, that is Vamana Avtara. Sometimes he comes in a beautiful two-armed Shyam Sundar form, that is Lord Shri Krishna. Sometimes he comes as Hamsa in Hamsa Avtara, and sometimes as a beautiful boar. Like a hog or a boar can never be beautiful, but this Lord in the form of this boar is so beautiful. And then he comes in the book form, and that is Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, Krishna is the literary incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna, Bhagavatam, because it has come in a book form. So to just go back a few, like say that there are, several scriptures for the benefit of humanity, and Vyasdev, he is empowered by the Lord. So Vyasdev is a Shakti avatar of the Lord. But in this particular time, when did Vyasdev come? At the end of, okay, how many yugas are there? Let's just also get some of you to speak. I'm only speaking. It's nice to hear your voices also. How many yugas are there?
4
4
Yes.
yugas.
Thank you. And what are the names?
Satyuga,
Satyuga, Treta,
Treta Yuga,
Dwapar, and
Dwapar,
Kali
Dwapar
Yuga.
and Kali Yuga.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much, all the Mataji. So, yes, Vyasdev is empowered by Supreme Lord Shri Krishna to write the scriptures. So, he is Satyavesh Avtara, and he's also called Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasa or Ved Vyasa. And why he's called Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasa? Because Krishna is all attractive. And Vyasdev was born on an island, and his father was Parashar Muni and Satyavati was the mother. And we know that she was a fisherwoman, and later on she married Shantanu Maharaj, and then there is another long big pastime there. But to understand that Vyasdev was dark in complexion like Krishna, that's why he's called Vyasdev or Krishna Dvaipa and Vyasa or Ved Vyasa, and he was born on an island. So what happens is every millennium when the dharma goes down and adharma goes up, Krishna comes to reverse the situation. He wants to bring the dharma up and reduce the adharma, obviously, and protect the pious people and the devotees and annihilate the miscreants. So these are the 3 purposes, and the main purpose is to reclaim his devotees back. So here we can see what happened is that at the end of Dwapar Yuga, and as Mataji said, all the yugas, and just before the Kali Yuga begins, due to the degradation, as all the yugas change, the quality of people and their characteristics and all their qualities, they decline and degrade also. So, the righteousness goes down, dharma goes down, and all the Puranas and Vedas, they all existed even before Vyasdev. So we need to understand one thing is that Vyasdev is a post, like Brahma and Indra is a post. So this post is occupied by different living beings who are empowered by Lord each yuga. So Vyasdev is a post. So someone comes and becomes Vyasdev. Then he goes, next millennium, the post name is Vyasdev, like Prime Minister is the post, and the person who occupies that post will be different each time. So what happened this time in this millennium is that Lord Narayan himself came as Vyasdev. So he descended himself instead of empowering someone else. So this Lord Narayan himself is Vyasdev, taken the post of Vyasdev. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna, Lord Narayan. He himself is Vyasdev. And so, because earlier people could remember everything, they were called Shrutidhar. Anything and everything spoken, they could remember this entire class from beginning to now. Anything they hear, they will remember forever. But that is not possible for us. That's why we make notes. We keep repeating and hearing and reading. That is why, out of the compassion, Lord Narayan, as Vyasdev, started compiling, putting everything in writing, so it is available to the Kali Yuga people, to all of us. So this is how, and we know that in the beginning, Brahma spoke the 4 Vedas from his 4 mouths. He has 4 heads, 4 mouths. So all the mantras were mixed up as he spoke all the Vedas, and then Vyasdev came and he sorted all those mantras out and he put them in 4 different sections. And the first one is Rig Veda, which he then later on gives it to Sage Paila to look after and then further elaborate on it. Then Yajurveda, he gives it to Vaishampayana Rishi. Samaveda is given to Jaimini Rishi, and Atharva Veda was given to Sumanta Rishi. And these are all given to disciples and grand disciples, and then they go and expand further and then preach and propagate. So thereafter, sorting out these 4 Vedas, Vyasdev wrote 18 Puranas, and that is called the 5th Veda and Mahabharata. After doing all of this, we all know that his heart was not satisfied, and as he was sitting alone on Saraswati River meditating that why he's not happy, he himself got this realization that it is because he has not glorified Krishna enough. He has not glorified bhakti enough. And what happens is his guru Narad Muni happens to come at the same time, and he tells him that yes, this is right, your realization that only by devotional service to Krishna and glorifying Krishna can one be extremely happy. So this is how he inspires him to further compile Srimad Bhagavatam. And then thereafter, we know that these beautiful verses, they explain the same thing here, that how Srimad Bhagavatam, it vanquishes all our miseries and all our pains, because this verse is about glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and these 2 verses beautifully explain this point. So the 6th verse of this 7th chapter is Anarthopashamam Shakshat Bhakti Yogam Madokshaje Lokasya Janato Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. Anyone wants to read the translation?
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vasudeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the supreme truth.
Yes, excellent. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we can see that it is by the process of bhakti that so many miseries and the superfluous life that people are living in Kali Yuga, all this can be vanquished. But the problem is that people don't know this, and that is why learned Vyasdev compiled this Vedic literature for our benefit, and this is in relation to the supreme truth. And then the next verse also further explains that how, by following this process, by careful study and repeatedly hearing and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. See here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada clearly says that Srimad Bhagavatam should be worshipped as respectfully as we worship the Lord. Say Krishna is there in front of you, how best you will worship Krishna, that's the how best way one should worship Srimad Bhagavatam with the highest respect. Thereby, by doing so, we can derive the ultimate blessings of the Lord through its careful and patient study. Now, this careful and patient study is very important because in Bhagavad Gita, we know there are 700 verses and we all studied it together. It is following a kind of order nicely. First 6 chapters are Karma Yoga, middle chapters are Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters Gnana Yoga, which further explains how it culminates into Bhakti. So, okay, everything is going nicely in order, verse by verse. Krishna is explaining now. Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens is we need lot of patience. The first verse is itself, Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratas chartheshva abhignasvarat tene brahmaridayadikaveye muhyanti yat suraya tejo vari vridam viniyata yatra tyash sargom brusha dhamna svena sada nirashtakuhakam satyam param dhimahi. How long is the first verse itself? And if you look at the long commentaries, so many paragraphs, we need patience. Thereafter, what happens also in Srimad Bhagavatam is that there are so many cantos and all the pastimes are scattered. Some of the pastimes that are related, they come in the beginning of certain canto, and then you will find its connection in some other canto after many cantos have passed. That is why the patience is required here, because Bhagavatam it's written in a logical order. Even if you see here, question 4th was answered first before question 3, because only when the creation has taken place, then Krishna will descend to material world, right? So Bhagavatam is following a logical order, not a chronological order. So we need to be very patient and we need to repeatedly follow. Say we read one chapter, second chapter, third, then we have to repeat it. That's why Bhagavatam, we need lot of patience. I heard that when I met certain devotees at Bhaktivedanta Manor, that Bhagavad Gita was more, they were cherishing it more. But here, patience, and yes, we are meeting here every day. But it's nice if we are reading. I'm sure there are so many senior devotees here. I need to learn from all of you. But that careful study and patience is required. If we make notes, then we get confused, we go back and we try to understand. We ask someone, can you help me or guide me how I'm confused? So this is how, if it is followed exactly in these 2 lines, how Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, this is the cream of the cream of the cream of all the Vedic scriptures. To the degree we are careful, we are patient, to that degree, Lord will reveal to us Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is why, Srila Prabhupada puts things in such a nice way, but we need to read between the lines and understand why he has written this, because we have a issue that this is not working out. Then here is the answer Srila Prabhupada is giving, that you do this, then this will happen. So as a very merciful spiritual master, he gives us the solution. Only thing is that we need to be sincere enough to take that guidance and take that advice on board. So moving on further, as we said that here, okay, so I think I have not completed this. Yasyam Vaishruyamanayam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsaha Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. And someone wants to read translation?
Can you read, Mataji?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so maybe Mataji can read and Prabhuji next slide. Because I heard two people.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Simply by giving a reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving this devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so just giving oral reception, because Shravanam is the first activity, right? That is given so much importance in devotional service. Shravanam is the first thing. If we do Shravanam, lots of Shravanam, hearing and reading, then what happens is that this beautiful transcendental voice of the shlokas and mantras and the purports and Srila Prabhupada's explanation will enter our ears, reach the heart, and from that heart it will remove three things which all the Kali Yuga people are suffering: lamentation. There is always regret. Oh, I should have done that or that way or this way. I could have done that better. There are regrets when people make mistakes. There are a lot of regrets, and they feel bad. They feel guilty. That is lamentation. And lots of illusions. People have so many concocted ideas in their mind because the real truth is not known. Then whatever they think is the truth, those concocted ideas and illusions are completely removed. And fearfulness, all of us are always so fearful. My goodness, there are so many fears. This main three things will leave us, it will be extinguished from our hearts. So if you think that when these three things go, then what is left? That will be so good. We will be so close to Krishna. That is why Krishna Katha is very purifying. And even Narsingha Dev says to Hiranyakashipu that when he takes his heart out and when he goes to save Prahlad, he says, in this heart, why did you put all these bad things and fear? And well, he didn't have any fear, but he had lots of lust and envy and greed, and he wanted to become the Lord of the universe. And so much jealousy to his own son, he was trying to lord it over, and there was no love there. So Narsinghadev says that this heart is my seat. I want to sit here in your heart, and that will bring all the auspiciousness. But because you have put all these other things, lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, there is no place for me to sit. For example, think about it. If somebody comes to our house and we offer them seat, and at the same time four other people are trying to get into that same seat, then that guest will run away. How am I supposed to sit? So Lord Krishna is saying the same thing here, that if you remove these three things by your oral reception and all the anarthas, then devotional service can be then established in one's heart, because when there is a cleanliness is there, then Krishna will come and sit there nicely. Even we don't like dirty places, right? We don't like to sit in dirty place. So that's how simple it is. And here is a very beautiful shloka again. I have actually put lots, but let's see how the time permits, because I think we also have a bhajan today. Sorry, again, I'm not able to cope with, there are many things here. So a person Bhagavatam is self-realized, bona fide spiritual master. Bhagavatam carries with it all transcendental blessings of Lord Shri Krishna. This is what Srila Prabhupada is saying again in this purport. And there is a beautiful verse here spoken by Parikshit Maharaj. Naishati dusaha shunmam yaktodam api badhate pibantam tvam mukham bhoja chitam hari kathamrutam. And Prabhuji, would you like to read the translation? You wanted to read earlier?
Yes, Prabhupada, thank you. Because of my woe on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I'm drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So the shloka spoken by Parikshit Maharaj, we can see in the last picture there that he was feeling so ecstatic hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami from his lotus mouth, and he had taken a vow that for this 7 days he will not drink or eat. And you know, the hunger and the thirst is very, very difficult to tolerate. And we all know that this was the reason why, in the first place, Parikshit Maharaj, when he goes to Shamik Rishi's ashram, as per the first picture, He puts the dead snake around his head because all he wanted was water, but because that rishi was in meditation, he did not hear him, and out of that hunger and thirst and the intolerance, he puts the dead snake around his head. But actually, this is not the truth. Parikshit Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. This has happened because he was influenced by the will of the Supreme Lord, so that Srimad Bhagavatam can be spoken. So this was all arranged by the Lord. This is why this happened. And so many lessons can be learned from this pastime. This is why all the pastimes happen, and the pure devotees of the Lord, they become the instrument actually. So now we can see here, he says, at that time I could not tolerate hunger or thirst, but now I am hearing this Hari Katha, and which is emanating from your lotus lips. This narration is like nectar, like Amrut, and it is, this Krishna Katha is immortal. So to the degree one is absorbed in hearing Krishna Katha like Parikshit Maharaj, to that degree one will not be distracted by material miseries. So that's what this verse is speaking about. And there is also, I was reading actually at the moment onto the second canto, 8th chapter is what I'm following. And there, this was very beautiful verse again, which gives a very good analogy actually. And so I thought we can definitely discuss this also today. So pravishta karnarandhrena swanam bhava saroruham dhunoti shamalam krishna salilasya yatha sharat. And the translation is, the sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of a self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material association. Such a lust, anger, and hankering, thus it acts like autumnal rains upon pools of muddy water. So here a beautiful example of autumn rains is given here, and we can see in the first line that pravishta karna randrena, when pure nectarian sound vibrations that are describing Krishna, when they enter our ear holes, what happens? Swanam bhava saroruham. They sit on the lotus heart and the emotions of the devotees, and these emotions are so soft and they get so attracted to Krishna, and it purifies all the material contaminations from devotee's heart. And the third line is Dhunoti Shamalam Krishna. So this purifies the devotee. And the Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. This is the effect of Krishna Katha. And the last line says Salilasya Yatha Sharat. So during the monsoon season, the water reservoirs, they become very muddy because such heavy rains are falling on these water bodies that the mud and everything gets mixed up. But during the autumn, the rains are very soft and they are drizzling. So they purify the water reservoirs because it's just a drizzle. So it forms like a clean, soft, clean water layer on the water bodies, and the mud, it settles down because the drizzling is soft. It does not disturb the mud. So there is a nice layer of clean water on the water bodies, and it cleanses the entire lake. The same way, the beautiful sound vibration of Krishna Katha enters the heart. It is so soft that it evokes nice loving emotions for the Lord, and thus it purifies one. So this is the effect of Hari Katha. And there are many other verses that I had put. I think we do not have much time here. Yeah, this Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun, right? We know this famous verse again. Krishne swadhamo pagate dharma gnanadibihi saha kalau nashta drishamesha puranarko dunoditaha. So what it says, that persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. Because why is there ignorance? Remember the verse that we had studied in 7th chapter. Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This energy, material energy, is very, very difficult to overcome, the maya, right? But the one who has taken the shelter of Lord Krishna, he can easily cross beyond it. So The same thing is again in the second canto, that Mayam Varnayato Mushya, Ishwarasyanu Modataha, Shanvata Shraddhaya Nityam, Mayayatmana Muhyati. Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of Supreme Lord. This is what exactly Prabhupada is saying in today's purport also. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, ahaituki and apratihata, then one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. Illusory energy is the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we know that how a jiva is trapped in it only because of the nescience, the ignorance. And this ignorance can be removed by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source, bona fide scriptures, and the bona fide guru. And same thing is again explained in the Madhya Leela, that Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord and shelter of everything. In each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam and each and every syllable, there are various meanings. Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashaya Pratishloke Patti Akshare Nana Arthakaya. Yeah, so there are all these beautiful verses there, and I think there we should, I hope this has established very well that Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God and is compiled by Srila Vyasdev, and Krishna himself is the Lord Narayan is here as Bhagavatam, and Vyasdev is empowered to write Srimad Bhagavatam. And why he has done this? For the ultimate good of all people. Bhagavatam is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. So I will conclude here, and we can move on to bhajan maybe for a minute if there is any realization, comment, or question. Please forgive my mistakes today also, as usual.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you for a wonderful class. I have a question. Where was the source where you have the, you made the statement that yes, there is a post, not an incarnation, that only in this particular, I didn't know that. I thought it was a
Sure, Prabhuji.
perpetual
So
music and incarnation.
I will post it in the group, or I'll send it to you. The source, at the moment, it's not on top of my head, but yes, it is definitely the case. Vyasdev, Brahma, Indra, because in each age, Brahma is not the same, Indra is
Yes,
not.
I know about Brahma, but
Vyasdev is also.
Vyasamuni, I was under the impression is a perpetual incarnation.
I will get the exact source and I'll post it in the group.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
that.
so much.
Thank you for wonderful class.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, definitely. I will share that. And so this particular Vyasdev right now is Lord Narayan himself. So I will share that. And yeah, any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for a wonderful class. It was really nice. Just in this paper, the verse we read is written as God is light, all bliss, all perfection. Is this light means knowledge?
Yes, correct. Yes, Mataji. God is all light. So darkness is our ignorance. Here in Bhagavatam, Jiva is put in 5 types of nescience, 5 kinds of ignorance, because we are identifying ourselves with the body, and the real knowledge is that we are the soul. So this is where the major issues start, when we identify with the body and all the relations that this body has. So that is darkness, and the light is the knowledge. God is all knowledge, because the knowledge comes from Krishna. Krishna gave all the Vedas and Puranas and everything to Brahma, and then it's passed on in the. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's nice that devotees are looking into each word and everything so nicely and trying to understand. Okay, any other? I'm really sorry. Any other question or comment? Okay, so today, Santosh Mataji, we have, let's have a look. It is Enakshi singing, right, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, Enakshi and Pavani.
Wonderful.
I think they've joined.
Yeah, you had said 8:40, so please forgive me, it's 6 minutes past, but it's okay.
That's okay, Mataji. Please don't worry. It's okay. Thank you.
Sure, sure. So, okay, so let's, we can start when they're here. They are singing Jai Radha Madhav, right?
That's right. It's one of their favorite bhajans.
Oh, brilliant. It's everyone's favorite. I'm sure it's very sweet bhajan. So we
Yeah.
can start. We
Yes.
don't need the, do we need the lyrics?
That's okay. We'll just listen to the bhajan only, Mataji. Inakshi and Pavani, are you ready? Hare Krishna. Hmm. They were supposed to join at 8:30.
Okay.
Inakshi? Just bear with me, Mataji. I'll give Aditi Mataji a quick call. Thank you.
Sure, sure, sure. We did not discuss this verse. It's very, very beautiful verse. Because it says here, right, in the purport. So while we are waiting for the girls, maybe someone can read this. Lord Sri Chaitanya, yeah.
I can read. Is that okay?
Yeah, please. If you can read this purple, and if you want to recite verses, also fine. But you can read this if you want.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, the son of Nand Maharaj, is worshipped along with his transcendental abode, Vrindavan. The most pleasing form of worship for Lord is that which was performed by the gopis of Vrindavan. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless authority on everything, and pure love of Godhead is ultimate goal of life for all men. These statements, for which we have the highest regard, are the option of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Chaitanya Matta Manjusa commentary by Srinath Chakravarti Acharya.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. So we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna. He came in the form of devotee to give pure love of Godhead to all. And he is saying himself here that Supreme Personality Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj, is worshipped along with his transcendental abode, Vrindavan. So this is like the highest worship is the worship of the gopis of Vrindavan. And how we want to worship Krishna? The Krishna who is Shyam Sundar, the two-armed form in Vrindavan. So this is the most beautiful form of Krishna. The way one should worship in the mood and bhava is of the gopis of Vrindavan. And you want to read and hear the highest spotless authority, then that is Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is the result if we do that? We will achieve pure love of Godhead. And that's what is the ultimate goal of life? This, the process and goal, both is same. Performing devotional service, and the result, the goal is pure love of Godhead. So they go together. And these statements are made by none other than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's from the Chaitanya Matta Manjusha commentary by Srinath Chakravarti Acharya. So yeah, it's very beautiful. Even the words is very beautiful. And yes, Santosh Mataji.
Yes, they have joined.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Pavani and Inakshi, are you ready?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, you can start. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jai Giri Vardhari, Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jai Giri
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Wow, wonderful. Very, very nice. And Akshin Pavni, thank you so, so much. This was the best part for today. I don't know about what I spoke, but your singing is very inspiring. So thank you so much. And I think when I come next time also, whenever it is I get a chance to serve, please come again and sing. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will meet again then, and I seek your blessings, and please forgive me if I made any mistakes, because I am a sadhaka. I'm really trying. I'm practicing bhakti. I'm not a devotee, so please forgive me, and thank you for bearing with me. And we'll conclude today. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.